Welcome back to Starting Line. As an author and retired history teacher, understanding the privileges and obligations of citizens, or civics, is an important area of study to Representative Dean Urdahl. Urdahl believes we have a growing crisis of civics knowledge in our society, and the Republican from Grove City has introduced legislation that aims to right the ship by increasing students' civics awareness. This week on Starting Line, we learn about House File 4117, Urdahl's proposal that would, in part, require school districts to offer a government and citizenship course for credit in either 11th or 12th grade. Representative Urdahl explained the reasoning behind the proposed legislation.
House File 4117 would provide for a class in civics. It would say that every school district, every school in Minnesota has to have a class in civics for credit offered to juniors or seniors. And it also provides that the test that as of 2016 has to be given, a civics test based on the same questions that immigrants take before they become citizens, that the results of that test also be made public. Not quite at the level of the MCAs, but an aggregate score. If you have a school where 100 upon graduation had taken the test and 70% achieved at least 60% on the test, then you report that and it be tabulated statewide, just so that we have some idea that yes, the test is being taken and this is how many are passing it. So those are the two things that it does. The bill establishes a credit class for juniors and seniors and requires reporting of the results of the civics test.
Are there any graduation requirements tied to this proposal?
No.
Why do you think some students are coming up short in civics awareness?
Well, I think it goes to a lot of factors. One of them being that over the years we have emphasized some other areas more, the STEM classes, science, technology, math, and as we emphasize those things and we elevate them through this MCA testing, we are taking from other things. And over the years, I believe that civics education has been sacrificed to other areas. Not that those other areas aren't important, but we have to do some prioritization. Perhaps there are some electives that are maybe some things that people want to take, students want to take, but do they really need them? And to me, knowing how this country works is one of the real foundations of our republic. I have a book that I quoted from yesterday, including an 1828 civics textbook. And the author there, a man named Stanbury, is talking about how essential the knowledge of the operation of government is to a free society. And I think we're sliding away from that. I want to get us to a point where our students can list more presidents than Kardashians. And it takes the, I guess, first of all, making sure that people understand that there is a problem and then elevating it. Now, I mentioned the MCAs, the statewide testing a couple of times, but those scores are published across the country, or the state and the country, I guess. But in Minnesota, it's like, our math and reading, usually we're in the 60s, 70% proficiency, which isn't great, but kind of acceptable. We can do better. We should try to do better. But the NAEP scores, that's the National Assessment for Educational Progress, rates Minnesota's proficiency of their graduates in civics at 23%. In other words, if the NAEP score, their survey, is correct, 3 out of 4 people of our students are graduating in Minnesota without knowledge of how the government works. And so I believe that there was a need for change. There was a need to focus some more on civics, to elevate it, and to try to ensure that our graduates leave our schools with a more complete knowledge of civics and how our government works.
With those lower scores, what do you think some of the consequences could be?
Consequences can be a very ill-informed electorate, or an electorate that doesn't vote. The reason that I moved, right now, yes, we have standards for civics education, but it's scattered throughout our curriculum. And they're good standards. They start in kindergarten. But then there are different ways in which we teach the civics in our schools in Minnesota. There are some that don't have a class, some school districts, you don't have a class in civics. You are supposed to, though, be teaching from the standards, but we don't know for sure if they don't have a class, are they really teaching? Is everyone teaching from the standards, or just most of them, or what is it? And then some schools teach civics in 9th grade. And some do teach it as juniors and seniors. And for those, my bill probably doesn't have any impact really at all because they're already doing it. But the reason that I want it to be taught to juniors and seniors, and this is getting back to your question, is that they are the students who are about ready to take the next step to become active participants in our democracy and in our republic through voting. In 9th grade, they're not quite ready yet to be thinking about, okay, I'm gonna vote in the next election. But seniors can think that. And that's why it's so important, I think, to reconfigure how we teach civics in Minnesota.
Representative Urdahl's bill was heard March 27th by the House Education Finance Committee and laid over, as amended, for possible omnibus bill inclusion or further action at a later date. You can follow the progress of Representative Urdahl's bill or any bill introduced in the legislature by visiting the House website, www.house.mn. Thanks for watching The Starting Line.